All right, you all. Hello, I am back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've joined you. I've been kind of busy with some things, so taking out a moment to go over some things. This live, I'm going to go over some history about the freedman status or freedmen, right? I'm hearing a great deal of individuals don't know or have not understood what the term freedman or the status of what freedman status is and what it means to us as Black Americans, right? So that's why I titled this Black Identity and Freedmen Status, right? So we're just going to talk about how freedman status came about for freedmen status for our ancestors and how it was used in legislation. It aligns with the Constitution and things of that nature. So I want to highlight these things so people have this part of the history. And you can go, of course, do your own research. I'm all about you doing your own research. So then you know for yourself, you can read, you know how to locate the information as well. And you can also communicate this information, right? So it's just known and well known in the community, and you have that history. But anyway, so I want to start off though with this is the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, and so again, you know, we are about taking care of ourselves, self care. It's very important for us. And a part of that self care is taking time to say, you know what, I need a day off, I need to relax, whatever that looks like for you. Nothing wrong with that. And for us as a collective, as freedmen, there's nothing wrong with us making sure we prioritize ourselves, prioritize our legacy and our lineage as stakeholders and shareholders here and patriots of America, right? So I am going to first play this video or snippet with Clarence Thomas and what he's talking about, and then we'll kind of get into, you know what, maybe I should do the 14th Amendment. Let's do the 14th Amendment first. Um, we know that ruling is about to come up, and we know that freedmen align with the 14th Amendment, right? At least I know that freedmen. I think many of us know that's how our ancestors were emancipated. So, with freedmen, that's a status that aligns with the Constitution and it is race neutral. And what do I mean by race neutral? So, let me go and see. I'll find where here we have in the opinion of Clarence Thomas, which I'm going to play Clarence Thomas, where he states that Freeman is under inclusive by proxy to race, right? Because not all Blacks in America at this point in time and how they utilize race in including the immigrants, then that does not cover, that's all of us, right? That's like them putting them, which I have a problem with, because race was created in America to injure and harm the freedmen. And when you go and review that history, you'll see what I'm talking about. But which we will. Let's see. I wanted to get to the actual 14th Amendment of what Clarence Thomas stated in this opinion. So let me see. Let me find that. And I'll find that. And then we're going to go over that. And then we'll get into what he's saying in these couple, excuse me, and couple of clips that I think it's important for us to review. Okay. So let's see. I do believe I have the clip. I'm gonna scroll to it. Oh, I have clips of, oh, I have, okay, this is good. Let's do this first. Let's do this one first. I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show this first to show the timeline of how we've had these different let's see here, terms and labels, right? Throughout American history. Let's see. I want to make sure you can see that. I have to share my screen over here on YouTube. Let's see if you can see it here. Give it a moment. And I want you all to see the layout of all the different terms throughout. So it goes from 1790. Okay, I want to see if it's over here on my YouTube. And you'll notice that, okay, perfect. Let's see. Go live. You'll notice the terms, right? You have, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Maybe not. Okay. Well, you can see that we have slaves, and then we have all other free people. Of course, you have the whites, and I can't tell what that. Let's see. I want to make this bigger. Free whites, right? And then slaves here, all other free persons. So this is 1790, 1800s. Over here again, 1810, 1830. So we keep going, and then here we get to 1860. And then you got black and mulatto, you have Chinese, and then you have Indian, right? And then you have here again, 1870. So I'm looking from all of this time here, right, unto here. And then we see it now in the center here. You can see where it starts to build out. I think that's important for us to see how over time everyone else is here. And when we hear people say, oh, you need to go back to Africa, it's funny to me now. But anyway, it's just showing you our legacy, how long we've been here. Okay. So again, now with the term freedmen, I wanted to show that because that term freedman means something. It's not just, or the status applies to us in a particular way. We can see it via this diagram. So let's see. Let me go to my live, and then I'll make sure it's up. Okay. So now I'm going to change it up. I will stop sharing here, and I'm going to share another pic that I think is important. And this one is of what Clarence Thomas said, right? This is an excerpt from his opinion in the Fair Admissions Act. That was the case regarding the affirmative action and education. I should probably pull that one up too, so you'll see what I'm speaking of, the actual case that he wrote about. And dealing with race, right? The Supreme Court has stated that America, or the Constitution, let's put it this way, the Constitution is race neutral. So therefore, everything that deals with a lot of race, they're saying, okay, now we're going back and we're saying, no, race can't be used in these certain situations because now you're utilizing race, and it's unconstitutional. Now we know that race was something that was placed upon our ancestors. It wasn't necessarily that they created the racial social construct. Excuse me. And the racial social construct it's not real. It was created to stifle, right? To oppress. Hence the reason we have Jim Crow laws. We'll get into that. But I wanted to show where here Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice, states that an excerpt from his opinion in Section E, paragraph 2. The 1866 Freedmen's Bureau Act then expanded upon prior year's law, authorizing the Bureau to care for loyal refugees and freedmen. So, importantly, however, the acts applied to freedmen, a formerly race neutral category, not blacks writ large. And because not all blacks in the United States were former slaves, freedmen was a decidedly under inclusive proxy for race. So he's citing where this information, again, global records, whatever, but and also other writers. So, moreover, the Freedmen's Bureau served newly freed slaves alongside white refugees. So, again, freedmen. He's stating freedmen. And advocates of the law explicitly disclaimed any view rooted in modern conceptions of subordination. Okay, what is subordination? Let's look at this. So people will understand what that means. Okay. So ant subordination refers to the dominance hierarchies that exist within some ant colonies. So we know in law, in American law, what does it mean? Okay. In American law, insubordination is theoretical framework that posits that law should be interpreted to dismantle historical systemic hierarchies and caste systems. Okay, so here we are, and he's stating this. And with that, let me continue to read what he said, because I think this is very important, right? So he's saying the hierarchies, right? So to the contrary, they explicitly clarified that the equality sought by the law was not one in which all men shall be 6 feet high. Rather, it strove to ensure that freedmen enjoy equal rights before the law, such that each man shall have the right to pursue his own way of life, liberty, and happiness. And this is, again, some of the congressional globe that they're also quoting, or he quoted here in his opinion. So I wanted to read that before we go into what the snapshots or the clips of Clarence Thomas, because here it is. He's stating on the Supreme Court. We have the ruling, or I say the clarification of the interpretation of the 14th Amendment coming up here in June. So it's important that we understand what freedmen is, right? And who we are and how it's defined in law. The Supreme Court, the top law of the land, right? So I wanted to highlight that. Now we'll get ready. Now I'll stop sharing. So when people say that freedmen is not a status that we can use, or a term that we can use for us, ourselves, Black Americans, as stakeholders, shareholders, and patriots of America, yes, we can. And we have a sitting Supreme Court justice that is Freedmen telling you that you can utilize Freedmen, right? I will stop sharing that, and then we're going to go and we're going to listen to what Clarence Thomas is saying when he was out speaking to students and going on. I guess he goes on these tours where he speaks to students at these different colleges about the Constitution and American law. And so let's see, let me get that reeled up, and we're going to listen to that. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about some more about the 14th Amendment, because actually I think there's a clip of Ketanji Brown Jackson as well highlighting the 14th Amendment. So we'll definitely look at that. So I'm going to share my screen and to Clarence Thomas on what he's seeing and what we need to do as Americans and aligning with the Constitution. But he not only talks about the Constitution, he goes in and he speaks about independence. When the Supreme Court justice starts speaking about the Declaration of Independence, I think that's a big warning to Americans. But okay, let's get into it.
I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. If you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. You think that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person, and you deal with that. I think we need to take ownership of our country. It's our country. I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that.
Okay, all right. So there you hear Clarence Thomas and his concern about how we are allowing others to come in and kind of really take over America. That's basically what I heard. So he is giving us or warning us about what's happening. He is a sitting Supreme Court justice. He is noticing some things that I think is very important that we also, which we notice too, right? We've been noticing some things, and I've talked to some of our people when I was out in the field, in the community. They was like, "Oh, I knew something's wrong, but I just couldn't put my finger on it." And now we have this report. Let me go to that report. There's a report that just came out that I think since 2007, most of our jobs have been going to immigrants. So, I mean, like, we as the Americans and freedmen, we have definitely got to stand up for what is ours, right? Unfortunately, we're having to do that in this day and time all over again. This is the pattern. Okay, I'm looking for, let me go to my profile and I'm gonna scroll down. There is literally a report today that after they've been doing this research, they're recognizing that most of the jobs that was going to Americans have now been going to slowly over time to immigrants since 2007. Let me see if I can find the actual. It's not okay. So foreign-born workers, more than half of the U.S. Labor force growth since 2007, and that's according to BLS data. So it's no link to that. So you know what? We're gonna hold off on that. But we know something is going on as far as the employment. So with that, we have a lot of Black identity politics happening. So with that, that's where it's conflicting for us. And with the whole thing with the affirmative action, hey, I go for it. At this point in time, anything that we are recognizing doesn't serve the Americans, and we're Americans first, uh, we got to make sure we take care of ourselves. Self-preservation. We can talk about self-preservation as well. We're Americans. Self-preservation. Everybody else is coming to our soil. We have a right to self-identify, pursue our rights to happiness and how we want it. So, but anyway, I'll share one more of Clarence Thomas, and then I will look for the one clip of Ketanji Brown Jackson. I think she even expresses and explains the freedman status and who it applied to and things of that nature. So I will locate that one because I do want us to understand that our Supreme Court justices do understand what freedom is. So, okay, I'll play this
Hit.
clip.
Progressive, progressivism seeks to replace the basic premises of the Declaration of Independence, and hence our form of government. It holds that our rights and our dignities come not from God, but from government. It requires of the people a subservience and weakness incompatible with a constitution premised on the transcendent origin of our rights. The century of progressivism did not go well. The European system that Wilson and the progressives scolded Americans for not adopting, which he called nearly perfect, led to the governments that caused the most awful century that the world has ever seen. Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, and Mao all were intertwined with the rise of progressivism, and all were opposed to the natural rights on which our declaration are based.
Okay, there we go. So even Clarence Thomas is out here saying, hey, let's wake it up. Let's wake it up. It's time for us to do something different. Oh, sorry about that. We got to do something different. This is not working. We're letting our country go to others, right? And that is not how it is written. So Clarence Thomas is out here even warning us now. But let's see. I want to find the other statement by Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then we're going to get into this Black identity and how freedmen, we must delineate. I have something coming up, this great video on the different terms. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me find Ketanji Brown Jackson and then we'll get really into the Black identity and the freedman status. Okay. Very, very important, and how Black now is being interpreted to include all of the immigrants, and they're operating in our identity and under the racial social construct, which is a form of harm and injury for us anyway. We know this to be true. So, okay, we know this to be true because Jim Crow came about for the freedmen, right? Jim Crow applies specifically to the freedmen. So, okay. I want to find the Ketanji. Let's see. And we're going to listen to what she says and how she even gets to the term, how Freedmen is specific. Uh, and then we'll go from there. We'll look at how these terms over the time frame have changed for us, right? They've changed for us, and in the changing of them, now everyone else is here claiming claiming all of these terms that only apply to us. It's not funny, but it is funny. Okay, let's see. Uh, um, every time. Okay, so let's go here. I don't see the Katanji Brown for some reason. Let's see. It's not coming up. Let's see. I can get her. I want you all to hear what she even. Oh, here we go. All right, perfect. Here we go. So I want you all to hear what she even says about Freedmen. Okay. And then from there, we're going to get really into all of these different terms that they have given us. And Freedmen supersedes all of the racial social construct terms when we come back to the Constitution, the first 13, any of the amendments, right? For in any of the 13th, 14th, 15th amendments. So, okay, let's listen to this one. Uh, let's see.
Creates an. I don't think we can assume that just because race is taken into account, that necessarily creates an equal protection problem, because I understood that we looked at the history and traditions of the Constitution, at what the framers and the founders thought about. And when I drilled down to that level of analysis, it became clear to me that the framers themselves adopted the Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment in a race-conscious way, that they were in fact trying to ensure that people who had been discriminated against, the freedmen, during the Reconstruction period, were actually brought equal to everyone else in society. So I looked at the report that was submitted by the Joint Committee on Reconstruction, which drafted the 14th Amendment. And that report says that the entire point of the amendment was to secure rights of the freed former slaves. The legislator who introduced that amendment said that, quote, unless the Constitution should restrain them, those states will all, I fear, keep up this discrimination and crush to death the hated freedmen. That's not a race neutral or race blind idea in terms of the remedy. And even more than that, I don't think that the historical record establishes that the founders believed that race neutrality or race blindness was required, right? They drafted the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which specifically stated that citizens would have the same civil rights as enjoyed by white citizens. That's the point of that act, to make sure that the other citizens, the Black citizens, would have the same as the white citizens. So they recognized that there was unequal treatment, that people based on their race were being treated unequally. And importantly, when there was a concern that the Civil Rights Act wouldn't have a constitutional foundation, that's when the 14th Amendment came into play.
Okay. All right. So you heard that, right? So she understands how the 14th Amendment came about, and it's for freedmen. Okay. So when we look up at the upcoming uh, interpretation, clarification of the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship, I know, and we have it on record from two of those Supreme Court justices, plus a couple others that have said the same thing, right? It's specific to the freedmen and what was happening with the freedmen. So, with that, I'm going with the Supreme Court justices. And even if you look at that, then we at least have two. And I would say we really have five, right? We really have five. But I'm going with two that we know understand that the 14th Amendment is specific to freedmen, and they use freedmen, right? And then she even clarified how race was playing into it. So therefore, freedmen were experiencing the racial harm. Yes, she did. Did you all catch that? Okay, so we did Clarence Thomas, we did Ketanji Brown Jackson, all on the 14th Amendment and freedmen status. And so now we're going to get into some other things with the freedmen status and the Black identity politics, right? And so I'm going to share the screen again. We're going to go into some of the videos that I've just been collecting about how individuals have been speaking about race, right? And I came across this old, and I thank them for posting it because it's just perfect for what we're talking about today. But there is a video, and they're talking about the different terms that we have, okay? And in these different terms, you will see where they're voting. They're asking the people to vote on these terms. And I love that Earl, thank you for posting this. But you will hear his voice and the tone that he uses with some of these terms, and I was just loving it. But anyway, okay, I'm going to share my screen so you can see see this video, and I love it because it really shows us the changes we've gone through with the racial social construct that we did not put upon ourselves, right? We didn't ask to be labeled as in a racial social construct because our ancestors were already freedmen. So, and that was their status. So then the racial social construct becomes a thing. But here we go, during Jim Crow, right? Here we go. Let's see.
And now for a non-scoring question which tells the score. Recently, Jet magazine asked its black readers to answer the following question. What ethnic name do you prefer to be known by? It gave its readers these 5 possibilities. In what order do you think they were chosen by the Jet readers? The screen are shuffled, if you'll excuse the expression, from the final results of the Jet poll. The question again was, what ethnic name do you prefer to be known by? And the 5 ethnic designations are A, African American, B, Negro, C, D, colored, E, Afro-American. Remember to rank your choices according to how you think the black readers of Jet answered the poll. And now for the answer. At the bottom, in 5th place, was that old euphemism, colored, and in 4th place was that schizoid term, African American. In 3rd place, with less than a quarter of the votes, was the term Negro, the word which the white community and communication are accustomed to use. In 2nd place was the term black, and in a comfortable lead for the moment is the phrase Afro-American.
Okay.
Black is more popular among youth and college students. It's less than 2 years since Stokely Carmichael popularized the phrase Black Power from a speech.
Okay, I'm going to go back because he said something about one of the terms that I think is hilarious. Okay, so we'll go. He says that. Okay, let's just go back because I love it when he clarifies these terms, but go ahead.
At the bottom, in fifth place, was that old euphemism, colored. And in fourth place was that schizoid term, African American. In third place, with less than a quarter of the votes, was the term Negro, the word which the white community and communications media are accustomed to use. In second place was the term black. And in a comfortable lead for the moment is the phrase Afro.
Okay, I will stop sharing. Okay, schizoid. That's the term he used. I love it. I loved it. He used the term schizoid for African American, which it was one of the lowest. He said colored, that euphemism. And then just with black was number 2. And Afro American was number 1. Even then, no one was attempting to use African American. Okay. All right. So we don't use it now. Black is still right at the top of the list if we were going to use it in the racial social construct. That is what we use. So with that, I have another one for you where we have now these individuals here on the soil, and we have this elder speaking about how the 14th Amendment was birthright citizenship for us. Okay. And when was this video? It's been a while since I know this video happened, but I wish the date was on it. But I'll share this so you all can hear the lady, the elder, speak about the 14th Amendment. And she's like I do believe, like a city council meeting. But let's see. Here we go. I'll share. I want you all to hear what she has to say. And we're going to keep going with some of these videos. Go ahead and go into the Freedmen, how we even became Freedmen, right? And how went to the racial social construct. Let's go to listen to her. See, let me rewind it back.
The U.S., we have one rule of law. I also want to talk about the 14th Amendment, which was added to the Constitution in regards to blacks being given birthright citizenship because blacks helped build this country, including the White House twice. Please do not tarnish the name of black slaves by comparing them to your plight. There's no comparison, none. Black slaves did not break into this country, okay? Off here against their will. Also, black slaves are not immigrants. Immigrants are people with a choice. They come here by choice. Black slaves didn't have a choice. That's offensive to me because I'm a descendant of a black slave. And trust me, Ancestry.com's work, and I can trace my people back from when they landed here on the boat. I know the village where my people came from in Africa. Okay, so please do not try to get away with using that. That's very offensive. This country has been good to illegal immigrants. You have been given jobs, houses, tax money, free tax money, welfare, Social Security. They open up business for you guys, etc. I don't know of any illegal aliens who have been hung from a tree. I don't know any of them illegal aliens who have dogs been sick on. So that's very offensive for you to sit up here and allow these people to say that and get away with it, thinking people are going to feel sorry for them. That's very offensive, okay? Do the right thing. My people get 3 strikes. I have a nephew in jail now, 22 years for something he didn't do. My people commit a crime, they go to jail. Your people commit a crime, they get amnesty. It is wrong. You know what it's called? It's called apartheid, and we're not going to have it.
Okay. So you heard now, I don't agree with everything she said, but some of the things she said, she was right on point. She was highlighting how, yes, in this country, everything's been laid out for the immigrants, right? And they use our plight as if they were the ones that have lived through it, and they are not the ones that have lived through it. And any and everything here is ours, right? Any and everything here in America is ours because we already worked for it. Our ancestors already shed blood for it. we have already contributed and have equity. We are the descendants of the first stock of this country, the wealth of this nation. So it is what it is. We did not ask to be put in this position, but hey, we're going to play this position because it is what it is, right? This is the reality. This is why our belief systems may not align with others, or our values may not align with others. And then our worldview does not align with a great deal of others that are here. And there's nothing wrong with that, because our lived experiences are different. They're not the same in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So it's nothing wrong with us standing on what is ours. Now, I'm going to the, well, let me go back, right? I'm going to reel it back, and we're going to go, I want to show some documents, some things that I don't think many of you may know about. So we have the United States Code, right? This is the Office of Law Revision Council. I'll show my screen on this. So a part of us being freedmen is that our ancestors fought, right, in the Civil War. Not only were we already here, and yes, chattel slavery was happening. You had first the colonies, then chattel slavery, and then chattel slavery via all of these colonies that became states, right? You had certain laws that they passed, that they began to pass to implement slavery. That's, I mean, at the end of the day, there were free people here, always been some free people. And then there was many of our ancestors that also were at some point in time manumitted. So meritorious manumission, where they got their freedom. And so then, even then, they're still considered freedmen, even though they were free men. Okay. So that all happened when the Civil War, and we have Abraham Lincoln that literally stated, oh, we could go to that. Oh, let me go to what Abraham Lincoln stated. So you can see this. This is in his presidential library. Abraham Lincoln literally speaks about having to get the slaves or emancipate the slaves because the Union needed support in fighting the Confederates, right? That was a part of it. And he wanted the Union, or he wanted the America to survive, but not necessarily against slavery. Wasn't necessarily against slavery. I'm just putting that out there. But wanted to save the Union, and in saving the Union, this came about, right? But at the same time, we fought for our freedom. Our ancestors fought for our freedom. That's what we mean by, let me see, Abraham Lincoln. Let me see. I want to bring it up. But this is what we mean when we fought for our freedom and at the same time saved America, because we saved the Union. And you have these great stories about our ancestors that whether they fought on the Confederate side, because some of them were still enslaved on the Confederate side, but also those that fought on the Union side. You have stories about Robert Small that they were attempting to make him fight on the Confederate side, and he said, "Oh, okay," and he decided, "I'm going right on up here, up to the North, and I'm going to fight with the North and beat the Confederates," which he did. That was something that he did, and he and some other ancestors. That is real. Those are the stories that we have that you do not hear about. Those very courageous stories. But let's see. I want to get to where we have what Abraham Lincoln said. I'll read that off because that's during before the Civil War, right? And emancipation. And Civil War happens, and here we go, right here. I'll share this. And the Civil War happens, and then hey, the Union beats the Confederates, right? And we all know when the Union beat the Confederates, my ancestors, that we had the Special Field Order 15, and where they were supposed to get some land, and some of them did, but then they were removed because Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, right? So this is what he said, and it's in his presidential library. You can pull it up. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and it is not either to save or to destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I will also do that. What I do about slavery and the colored race, okay? This is before the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. Okay, what excuse me, what I do about the colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save the Union. I have here stated my purpose according to my view of official duty, and I intend no modification of my oft expressed personal wish that all men everywhere could be free. Okay, so don't let any ourselves or our ancestors did not save us, right? And then on top of that, they saved America. That's probably number two, maybe number three. That's probably number two in history. I'm going first with the Revolutionary War, but then how many other wars are in between there that I'm not even covering? But anyway, I'm not thinking about right now in this moment. But anyway, so that is something that I think is important for us to understand, and how freedmen came about, right? That begins the writing of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And so we know that we shed blood over here as patriots, as the Americans, right? That are written into the Constitution as stakeholders and shareholders. Right? That's the way I look at it, and I like to express it to other individuals or beings. So we're going to continue. I have another one. I want to show you another video, and why it's important for us right now with the Black identity, playing Black identity politics is not going to work. It is not going to work. We must make sure when we say when Trump says Americans first, we understand it means freedmen first. It's about us, right? Everything here is about us, or ours. Let's put it that way. So I'll play this video here because I think this is important for us to know, because most people will not acknowledge this. And most of them will say, oh, you all say y'all did everything, but we did. So, I mean, we've done a great deal for this country. Our accolades on this soil, and still making this our homeland. So, and sacrificing, and all these sacrifices of our ancestors and elders were for us. So let's listen to this gentleman, what he says about Memorial Day. Oh, hold on. I'll start from the beginning.
The first Memorial Day actually was created by African Americans, celebrating in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War. The story was just almost unbelievable when I first read it. On May 1st, 1865, the Civil War had ended, just ended. People gathered on the old Planters horse track, the racetrack in Charleston, and they held this extraordinary parade. In the last 6 to 8 months of the war, the Confederates had converted the infield of that racetrack into an open-air prison, and about 260 Union soldiers had died. On May 1st, about 10,000 people marched around the old Planters race course, led by some 2,000 or 3,000 black children, carrying armloads of roses and flowers and singing John Brown's Body, followed by black women, black men, and then Union troops. And they marched around the course, and then they gathered in this cemetery that had been created by local black workmen, and they heard preaching from 5 black ministers, according to this article. These were the freed people of Charleston paying tribute to the Union dead. That's the first Memorial Day.
Okay. All right. So we know also with Labor Day, we were very influential in Labor Day. So everything here, I'm just highlighting how everything here in America, you all, is ours. Now, why is it that we are having to fight these immigrants today on our soil and they contributed nothing? Okay, so this is where I'm going. Highly offended by some of these individuals that are now operating in our Black identity, where we have to now make sure we delineate and disaggregate data, and we make sure that there is a hardline boundary to who can and who is identifying as us. Now, we know that in for us, the racial social construct. Let me go here first. Let me go here. The racial social construct is something that was created, right, specifically to harm and injure the freedmen. What do I mean by that? How did it come about in America, the racial social construct? Because we've heard freedmen term, right, with, and that it aligns with the Constitution. So how did we get here, right? How did we get to Black? Well, I showed where we had the PowerPoint from 1790, how over time we ended up with these different terms. Let me go back to it. So then that gives us a better idea as well of how over time, over time, a new label or something's introduced instead of freedmen. And just that's it, right? We're freedmen. And we can go with that. But this is the race and ethnicity across the decades, 1790 through 2010. Let's see. I want to make sure I share my screen so you can see this. Okay. Again, I'm bringing this one back up because it helps us to see the pattern over time. And it's only us, right? Only so here we go we got Black in 1850, Black and mulatto. So we know then there was the official census in 1870. We had an official census in 1870. And by the time we got the official census in 1870, we have white, Black, mulatto, which are, I do believe, are some of the native tribes or the Indians, I should say, American Indians. And then you have the free people of color has disappeared. Okay. You have then the Chinese and Indian. And I take that, here we go, right? 1860 here. All of a sudden, those showed up in the meantime. But we've been here all this time, right? So with that, we know that in the 1900s, Jim Crow, right after emancipation, 1890, 1860s, somewhere in there, Jim Crow, right? All of the Jim Crow started happening in these around that time. So then we got more Black, mulatto, oxycode, what is code, quadroon. They're breaking it down, right? And you add Japanese to under the Chinese. So again, you can see how everything grows out, and we've been here from the very beginning. Now, we were not freedmen on the census. We can see that. Or when they were counting, when they began the census. We did not, it's been a race and ethnicity. And we can see some just got a new ethnicity in the 80s, right? We know, we see the influx, the difference. See the changing of the patterns of the immigration. Okay, so now we know that we were freedmen going into the next decade after emancipation, right? So that's 1865. Let's say 1877 is when we know that also there was the change of transference of power with the presidency. So then the racial social construct is again implemented. And what I mean by that, we know about black codes, we know about Jim Crow. What are black codes? Let's talk about it. Black codes. We're going to look it up. We're going to talk about it. So everybody know what we mean by black codes and where they actually were implemented. Okay. So black codes, I'll just read this off. I just did, you can do a little Google on the internet and it'll come up. It'll show you black codes. Okay. That's all you got to type in. So when people are out here acting like they don't know anything, they don't want to know. They're choosing ignorance at this point in time because it's all over the internet. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen so you can see what black codes are, how they're defined. So black codes were restrictive laws passed by southern U.S. states in 1865, 1866, immediately after the Civil War. They were designed to severely limit the freedom of the newly emancipated. They say African Americans. African Americans is a new term. That should be freedmen. Newly emancipated freedmen, and force them back into cheap exploitative labor force that resembles slavery. Okay, so some black codes. Unemployed black people are arrested and fined. Unable to pay for fines, they were often forced to perform unpaid labor for white plantation owners. Labor contracts. Many states required black workers to sign yearly contracts. Breaking a contract resulted in the forfeiture of all wages and the risk of arrest. Black children could be taken from their parents by judges and bound to unpaid apprenticeships, often to their former enslavers. Severe restrictions included property ownership, prohibited black citizens from bearing arms, prevented from voting, and forbade interracial relationships. But okay, so black codes again. Here we go. Let's look. Oh, I should find the actual black code. Oh, this is the Constitution of South Carolina. Let's see what this says. Okay. Summary. The Black Codes were a series of laws passed throughout the South in the wake of emancipation, although often professing to respect equality and civil rights of the newly emancipated. In reality, most of the Black Codes were specifically designed to curtail the economic, political, and social freedom of African Americans. And again, we know this, they're using this term, but that's not what we even voted on. So we could say Black Americans, freedmen, and now that even has been distorted because now we have all of the other arrivals coming to our land that are, or beings coming to our land, and now they're our Black under racial social construct, even Black ethnicity with the capital B. Okay, so their passage inflamed Republicans in Congress and was cited as justification for passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment. Okay. Again, I'm showing how it all goes back to us as freedmen. We did not construct the racial social construct in America to harm ourselves. Okay, our ancestors didn't do that. They didn't ask for no legislation to be passed where they are operating in race, and so everybody else can come here and operate in race as well. No, that's not what our ancestors fought for. So with that, I wanted to go to another video, of course. And this video, I'm going back because you have this is a effect of the I should say the Black identity politics, right? So we have to look at how these beings are operating as if they are us, and they don't have the knowledge, the experience. It is not, but they feel entitled to look at Black as just a skin color. And we know Black is not just the skin color for us. But anyway, so let's listen to, from what I understand, two immigrants, and they're talking about us, freedmen, the Black people of America. Let's listen.
Israel, they put his face on a bomb. Okay. Well, I haven't seen Stink.
Oh, hold on.
Like, if you're perpetuating the stereotype, are you saying Black people can't have accountability, bro? If you say chimp out, they're gonna hit you. Like, come on, bro. Like, if you're perpetuating the stereotypes of everybody says, bro,
No,
oh,
Myron.
are you gonna chimp out and punch them? Like, bro, this is why people are tired of niggas, bro. I gotta
Hold
keep it
on.
1,000.
All right,
This
hold
is
on.
why people are tired of blacks.
No, hold on, but Myron, you
Like,
don't.
they can't have accountability. Imagine a world where saying, hey, you gonna chimp out?
Myron, hold on.
Just punch. What?
Myron, I'm gonna tell you what world that is. The world is, every time I've watched Sneeko, he's like, everybody hold hands, let's come together, let's pray to Allah, this and third. And then I looked.
Now, they're talking about Chud the Builder or whatever. Okay, he's in jail. But both of these individuals are not Black Americans. They're not freedmen. And one of them is from South Sudan. And under the Black racial social construct, he's up here acting like he can speak on our people when this has not been their experiences. Okay, what I'm showing now is this is literally a trailer that for an online movie, right? It's supposedly online because he couldn't sell it to others. But that is the writer, producer, whomever. You see his name up there is director daddy is an African immigrant all the way from the UK. And the name of the movie is The Super End. Like, what is going on here? And how can you not think that that is offensive? Like, okay, so I have to show that. And as we keep highlighting this, Black identity politics does not serve us. So now you already heard the other guy speaking. This is the same guy that just was speaking and talking about the Black community. But let's listen to what he says here.
Try to run up on me. This is Florida, bro. I will literally Zimmerman your Trayvon Martin bitch ass, okay? I will Zimmerman your stupid ass. So come on over, try me. Try to run up on me. This is Florida, bro. I will literally Zimmerman your Trayvon Martin bitch ass, okay? I will Zimmerman your stupid ass. So come on over, try me.
Okay, all right. So now I had to play those because this is what is happening where we have all these beings on our soil claiming Black, right? But let's look at how they have not been here. And nothing here is for them to claim. But with the OMB and the census, that's why I was highlighting the census, race is used, right? The racial social construct is used for the census. So now that's why I have the petition, have got to make sure we delineate from all others under our racial social construct. That is not their experience, right? of being Black in America. Period. They are maybe Jamaican nationals, they may be Cuban nationals, they may be Dominican nationals, but they are not freedmen. Right. So we definitely have to make sure people understand that freedmen is major for us, right? It's a major status. So I did pull up some things to show you all that freedmen term is actually been utilized in legislation or attempts at legislation recently. How recent this is? Since 2000. This was a bill, did not go anywhere, but they did include freedmen, Freedmen's Bureau, Records Preservation Act of 2000. Okay. The other thing I want to share is the Immigration Naturalization or the United States Code. I'm going to share this next. And you can go and you can look up the term freedmen under these codes. And you can drill down and then you'll be able to see all the times that freedmen has been used in legislation. Okay? So you can't say, people can't tell us that freedmen cannot be utilized in legislation. So here you go. Here's a list. This is again in the United States Code, the Office of Law Revision Council, United States Code. So you will see here where it says Chapter 4. You can go into talking about freedmen. So I click on it, and here it gives all of the times that I do believe freedmen has been used in these certain legislations. So here in Section 61, and the statute related to continuation of laws then in force, related to the enforcement of laws by the Secretary of War. So let's see. I'll highlight this. And we'll go into it. But here's the sections where you can find out how it's related to us. Let's go here. How freedmen in the legislation is related to us. So again, there's recent documentation of a bill about which then highlights the freedmen term. And again, there is, I don't see freedmen here. I saw West Indian. So what is this? Labor Materials Secretary. Okay. So that might not be something that let's see. I'll go back to the codes. All right. So with that, I wanted to go here with I think that was the hospital. Yes. Transfer Freedmen's Hospital to Howard University. Okay. And here you see it. There's transfer of Freedmen's Hospital. So for the purpose, here's an authorization agreement for the purpose of assisting in the provision of teaching hospital resources for Howard University, thereby assisting the university in training of medical and allied personnel and providing hospital services for the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. So here, this is documentation of the intent, congressional intent. It is the intent of Congress that the transfer of the Freedmen's Hospital to Howard University be effected as soon as practicable. Okay, so this is a part of, again, our history where we can see that our Freedmen Hospital, which was Howard University, right? Used to be Freedmen Hospital, was turned over to Howard University to become its hospital under Freedmen, right? Again, Freedmen term used. The big one that everybody can go to, I'll stop sharing this. I'll put these links in the chat or in the discussion box so you can come back to them. But the big one is the Freedmen's Bureau. And I want to go there because this is basically already acknowledged via the United States government, right? There was legislation for the Freedmen's Bureau. And as well, and then it kind of branched off to the Freedmen Bank, right? So in your national archives, I'm going to share my screen. You're going to find all of this under your government websites. So with that, just so you know where to go and retrieve this information, you can definitely find this information out on government websites where it literally states Freedmen's Bureau, Freedmen's Bank, what happened, the legislation that came about for freedmen. You can see it. There's the bill, HR 613, known as it was known as the Freedmen's Bureau, was established in the War Department by an act of Congress on March 3rd, 1865. So the Bureau was responsible for the supervision and management of all matters relating to the refugees and freedmen. Well, now when we reconstruct and reestablish our Freedmen's Bureau, or we can give it a more updated name, like I say, Bureau of Freedmen Affairs, then you know all things this time will be specifically to the freedmen, right? We have no refugees. There's no wars here or anything like that. All the refugees already getting paid. They already got their housing. They already got everything that we don't even have, right? And we've been here and we work for ours. Everybody else is coming over here, gimme, 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 and don't have to work for anything, right? Cheap labor, no. We've been cheap labor. We've been cheap labor. Stock everything else. So why in the world? Why in the world would we be okay with others coming here and they haven't even had to do what we had to do? No contributions, no accolades. So again, here we are. You have the Freedmen's Bureau, and it highlights how it was also helping refugees because of the Civil War. Mind you, still some of our ancestors were refugees as well, right? So I want you all to see that the Freedmen's Bureau, which is freedmen is the term, it is the status, and it's a bureau for a reason. It's a bureau to help the freedmen. So we bring this forth, reconstruct this today in 2026, right? With this current administration, we delineate, right, from the recent arrivals and beings that are not freedmen, that don't have the history of being here prior to 1865, and if they were here, they were not considered freedmen, right? Or if they were here, they were already free people of color, and then they will have to be, at this point in time today, freedmen. So, and then with the tribes, freedmen. I'll stop sharing. It does cover in the, let's see, here in the United States Code, it does cover some of the freedmen as far as the 5 civilized tribes. So let's see, let's go down. I think I found it here. Let's see. Or maybe it was here. The labor of freedmen. Let's see. The archivist. Oh, this is again preservation of records. Okay, let's see. I thought there was one as I was going through this information, and I saw where they did speak of the civilized tribes. So, and again, all of this has been archived. Oh, here we go. Encumbrances on lands allotted to applicants for enrollment in the civilized tribes. And here, okay, perfect. This is the one I was speaking of. Let me share the screen because I do want you all to see this. When they speak about the civilized tribes, okay, and how freedmen, it doesn't matter if it's the 5 civilized tribes or with the United States Constitution. Freedmen is a term or status that goes to both. Or is applied to both, not one or the other, as some want to perpetuate. But here we go. So if you can read that, it states, right, that the encumbrances on lands allotted to applicants for enrollment in 5 civilized tribes, use of interest of tribal funds. And it says land allocated or allotted to any applicant for enrollment as a citizen in the 5 civilized tribes, whether an Indian or freedman, shall not be affected or encumbered by any deed, debt, obligation, or any character contracted. Da 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 da. Okay, so they still here is using freedmen. Okay, and we know that freedmen, the 5 civilized tribes, that Howard Hospital, Freedmen Hospital wasn't for those that were a part of the 5 civilized tribes. Okay. So when we're talking about the freedman status, it is applicable. And there are laws that we can go back to that highlight how they have been applied. And again, 2000, there was a Freedmen's Bureau Records Preservation Act of 2000. There is one more I wanted to show. Okay. War and National Defense. I will show this one and then I'll move on and get ready to close out. This has just been really an educational podcast today because I'm hearing, unfortunately, a great deal of our individuals that don't understand their freedman status and the importance of the freedman status. It does tie us to the land, ties us to the history. And you've 2 of the Supreme Court justices. I don't know about Ketanji Brown Jackson. I don't know if she's us or not, but you heard them state that freedmen is applicable today. It is. So, okay, with that, this says this is licensing or permitting commercial intercourse with state or region and insurrection. So, President may at his discretion license and permit commercial intercourse with any part of such state or section, the inhabitants in which are so declared in a state or insurrection. So anyway, when I go down and I don't want to read all of this, but it gives the president the rights. But I wanted to see, there was the term freedman. Oh, here we go. Okay. So let's go back to, that's along the military forces of the United States. Okay, let's go here. Also, so as far as may be necessary to authorize persons residing within such lines to bring or to send to market in loyal state or any products which they shall have purchased with their own labor or labor of freedmen. Okay. So, in this particular statute, we can go back and see the year of that. So again, These are some of the laws that are here. I'm sorry, I'll go back to it. That are part of what has been written. These laws have been written and they are utilizing the term freedmen. And I've been posing this question, excuse me, to individuals that say, oh, no, you can't utilize freedmen. And I ask them, well, how is it that the president can now use the 1798 Sedition Act and we can't use freedmen? And it's a part of the Constitution. That doesn't make any sense, right? If the native tribes right now are utilizing freedmen, then how in the world are we not able, or the freedmen from the 5 civilized tribes are able to use freedmen? How in the world are we not able to use freedmen? No, no, no. So okay, I'll stop sharing that, but you can definitely go and you can see the uscode.house.gov. So these are actual laws that are posted and they update them. They say, okay, these laws are still a part of, wait a minute, what does it say? I'll say, it's here on the page. I'll read it off to you. They do say these are updated and they give you the date. Let's see. Because they will tell you. These are some of the things that are still on the record. Yes. Okay. It says that the United States Code is a consolidation and codification by subject matter of the general and permanent laws of the general and permanent laws of the United States. Okay? And it is prepared by the House of Representatives. So now, before we close out and going back to the Black identity and how we, as the freedmen, the only Black people in America, must now make sure that we prioritize ourselves, right? At this point in time, we know, or I think we will get the ruling and clarification with the Supreme Court that basically we've been saying all along, right? Freedmen are the only are the only people that can come under the racial social construct of Black. So with that, because of the history, because also the culture and how everything has happened in America, we can prove that, right? We can prove that. But I wanted to show you all this because the Black identity politics is not helping us. They're not helping us. All others are not helping us. This is just disgusting. And now this being is running, I'm closing out on this. So I want this being is now running for office in Miami. And this is how he was talking or speaking when the majority of us did not vote for Kamala Harris. I want you all to hear this and cannot act like what we're seeing in my face is not
fair square. Motherfuckers, 15 million motherfuckers stayed home who voted in the last election. So sit back with my popcorn, say what the fuck you want to say, do what he want to do. He got full immunity. He might go out just like he said before. He's gonna shoot a motherfucker on Madison Avenue and not go to jail because he can't go to jail.
Fifth Avenue.
Looking forward to all these 12% of Black men who voted for this psycho motherfucker are sat home. I'm looking forward to them get their ass lynched by the police officers. I'm not going to fucking protest under no circumstance at all. So I'm sitting my ass back with my popcorn, and the Department of Education, they're going to turn public schools into third world countries where the degenerates are now going to go to those schools. Boy, fair square, motherfuckers, 15 million motherfuckers stayed home who voted in the last election. So it is what it is. So I'm gonna sit back with my popcorn and I'm gonna watch this crazy motherfucker say what the fuck he wanna say, do what he wanna do. He's got full immunity. He might go out just like he said.
Okay. All right. So I had to play that before I left because that is what Black identity politics has got us, right? We got a Bahamian that was all up in our hip hop culture, making sure we look bad. Oh, me so horny. And then now is running for office. But before that, he degrades our people because we voted for Trump. And we're in America where we have free speech. Okay. So you have free speech and there's consequences. Talking to us like that, trying to say that we don't know what's best for our people. But yet, Kamala Harris, I'm not going to do anything specifically for Black people. You all, it's time for us as freedmen to stand on what is ours because everything here is ours. So, with that, you all, we must make sure we delineate, ethno aggregate. I'll share the petition. Let me go get the petition. And you all can definitely look at the petition. Oh, there was another code. Oh, okay. Let me see. The delineation, let's see. Okay, here we go. The Freedmen petition. Please, 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 it is posted out on the website. It is posted also on YouTube. You can share it with any and everyone. Please do get as many to sign this petition. It just says that you align with us, making sure that we have a reinstatement, reestablishment, reconstruction of our Freedmen borough of Freedmen Affairs. However, but so that we can make our retrieving our resources, our capital, anything that is of our culture, right? That it is us that are controlling our narratives. So I have 1,302 that have already signed on. I hope that you will share with others. I've done a breakdown of the petition online there here on YouTube. You can go to the what is it? The videos, the live. Yeah, you can go to the videos and you will see where I have the AI set up where it explains and expresses this petition. So you can sign off on it. This will be going with the proposal for individual for when we or coalition go and sit down and speak with the Trump administration. This is what that is presented front and center. An outline of what this is, this petition, right? Delineation, ethno aggregating, and us making sure that we are controlling our narrative because right now we have many that are in our politics that are not our people and they cannot determine the best solutions for us in no way, shape, form, or fashion. And this is not about them determining anything for us. It's about us and our self identity, right? And our for self-care and prioritizing what it is for our people as Americans and patriots, stakeholders and stockholders. All right, with that, I'm ending. And thank you all for joining me that were able to join me on the live on X. I don't know what happened to YouTube, but it's okay. I will come back and we'll do it again or upload this one. So with that, enjoy you all. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you the next time.